Okay. Are you ready? What is your name?
My name is Jasmine.
And how old are you?
I am 25 years old.
Okay. So, Jasmine, who are you on a soul level?
On a soul level, I would say I'm everything, if that makes sense.
That makes so much sense.
Okay. I would feel like I'm everything and constantly changing too. So, not that I'm totally influenced by outside sources, but that I can adapt as necessary to protect myself in different situations.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I mean, is there anything that's gone on previously or going on right now that has like made you this person that is so adaptable?
I would say everything. I would say when I was living in Maryland and I was just growing up in high school, I didn't really understand who I was, and I was kind of like in the clouds, or as Miss Bullock would say, the Columbia bubble.
Oh, yeah. It's real.
Like,
it exists.
So it's like it's this wonderful little utopia, and you have no idea what the problems are in the world outside of this, because it's so ethnically and racially and culturally and religiously diverse. And then you leave and you're like, oh shit,
you guys weren't lying.
Sucks.
Yeah.
So I experienced a little bit of that towards the end of high school. There was like a really rough emotional year for me. My mom's mom passed away, and then in December my parents announced they were getting divorced, and then that February my dad's mom passed away, and then it was just like a full year of drama and trauma. And that's when I started to realize, like, it's not all like cookies, flowers, and rainbows all the time. Yeah. And then I went to West Virginia, which is a huge culture shock, like the exact opposite. And I would say that's when I started to really open my eyes to what else was going on in the world. I love my Columbia bubble, but you have to get out to know how much.
Appreciate
exactly.
it. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to give you 3 categories, and I want you to tell me what's most important to you and what's least important to you. We're going to just like go down the list. Okay. So the first category is love, sex, relationships. The next category is society, culture, politics. And the next category is spirituality and or religion, because for everyone, they don't go hand in hand. So for you, what takes a front seat in your life?
Love, sex, relationships. Definitely. I think it's one of the most important things, because if I don't love myself, then I can't be the best version of myself to anything else. I can't bring the best version of myself to society. I will be acting against myself if I don't love myself when I'm out in society. So I think that the most important relationship you have, first and foremost, has to be with yourself, and then you can bring that person to everything else.
Okay. And so after love, sex, relationships, then what's next for you?
That's really tough. Because,
and you can mix and match that if you need to.
That's really tough, because I think that I don't have a one-size-fits-all answer. I think that sometimes it's better, or it's more beneficial for me to focus on society, and sometimes it's more beneficial for me to regroup and get more in touch with my spirituality, and then I can go out in society and feel that. I'm a highly sensitive person, so I can absorb other people's energies. Like, even when my significant other is eating food, I'm like, slow down because you're stressing me out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that is how, like, I'm like, okay, we need to calm down. He's like, I'm fine. Like,
I'm fine, everything's fine.
I'm like, I need to relax. Like, so I think that it really just depends on the situation, but knowing where I fit in certain groups can help like calm some of that down too.
Okay, yeah.
So I think that it changes. I think sometimes spirituality is more important to me, especially if that's a part of my being that I feel like I've neglected. Which is kind of like when I did go to West Virginia, I realized that there were pieces of myself that I was turning against, and I didn't even understand that because I was so far from my spirituality and so far from who I was. After I graduated, I stayed for my significant other at the time, and we broke up within like several months of that, which was very hard for me because in my mind I was like, why am I even here?
Right.
You know, if not for you. And then I realized that it was exactly where I needed to be and put me on a really good path career-wise to really blossom. And it's not even there anymore. So it's like, it's great. Like, everything just works out. And that was something that I needed a reminder of, like, spiritually. I know that where I am right now is exactly where I need to be. So just having that type of faith, I don't think I was as connected to previously. So I think in every different step of life and every different step of this journey, that different categories might take precedent.
Okay. So one more question for each of those categories. I had to like think. So for the society, culture, politics, are you into politics? Is that something that you like? Do you keep yourself?
I like to be informed. Okay. I don't necessarily like the question, are you into politics? Like, I like to be informed. I would change a lot about about things, like the political structure and like, why is this happening? I wouldn't say I'm necessarily like into politics, but I do like to make sure that I have opinions about things so that when I can go to the polls, I do go to the polls, and I know exactly, you know, who's in line with my values.
Right. It's like, I don't even know who's running. I know there's an Asian guy, but he cried on TV. I was like, he has a heart, I guess. Like, that works. I suck. Anyway, so, the spirituality, so do you consider yourself a religious person, or are you more so, okay.
No, I wouldn't really consider myself a religious person at all. But I do understand why people would, but I just feel like there hasn't been one religion that I can say this fits me exactly. I identify with everything that this is saying, and I don't know that it needs to be that way, but I haven't found that, so I've kind of pieced some of things together, like some of the teachings that I have been able to experience. Be like, well, I really like this, and I really like this, and that's why I feel more connected to like the spirituality part more than necessarily adhering to one specific religion over another.
For sure. Okay. So I'm gonna get you to draw.
Oh.
I
apologize in advance.
It doesn't have to be wonderful. If you flip through, you'll see. But I just want you to pick colors that represent you and the things that make you happy, and the things that represent your life. And then I want you to tell everyone like why you pick the specific colors that you pick.
Okay. This is gonna be like a 5-year-old, like little. It's cool though.
It's fine. That's why I brought it back, because I was like, I'd like to feel like a child again. Yeah. I want to color.
I'm not gonna lie. I did at work. We had an event, and basically, like, it was just crafting. I was like, we just need to all take a breather, put some stickers on some things, paint a little bit, and call it a day. I would say these are my colors.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are these colors and why?
Okay. I love pink. It makes me really happy. It's just a very carefree, like, who's upset? How many people have you seen just pissed off wearing pink?
I don't think any.
It's a lot more like darks, grays, and blacks, which all have a place. But like, I really enjoy pink. Yes, no, I'm here for it. But like, I really like my pinks and my peaches because it brings me back to that cotton candy, which I know is no longer real. So, like, I sound like a cynical old lady.
Seriously.
And like, yellow's bright for the sun and everything. You gotta get
Also
a little bit of a little bit of
Yeah.
mixture in there. But
Okay,
I
so
like
I'm
my
gonna
sunshine.
ask you questions and just answer them as you draw, and you're not gonna finish, so don't stress yourself out about the drawing.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I like to let people know that. Okay, so first question. What makes you the most upset? Like, what really pisses you off?
What pisses me off the most is when people don't try. Like, I am the type of person that if you ask me a question or if you ask me for help, that 9 times out of 10, I will be there for you, whatever you need, to the best of my ability and my capabilities. That being said, I can only meet you as far as you've met yourself, and if you don't put in the work, I will not either. I'm just I'm not going to do it. Like, why would I try harder to make your life better when you're not even trying?
Yes.
So that pisses me off more than anything, is when people don't take accountability for themselves and they don't even try to better themselves. Now, if you do try, I will just like, meet you there. Like, let's do this. How can I help? You know?
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So what makes you really happy?
There's a lot of things, which I guess is a good thing.
Yeah.
When I see people connecting with each other, when I see people who are not fitting the stereotypes, like, we were driving down the road today and I saw a black man driving this car and he had a boat in the back of it. I was like, yes, a black man with a boat.
Seriously.
Like, and that was just a very simple thing, but that made me really happy.
Yeah.
Because that's not something that you see. Or I personally...
I don't see it.
Like, I personally don't see that frequently. So I was like, this is dope, man. Like,
yeah,
and
you better have a boat.
Yeah, like, go for it. Like, enjoy your life. Like,
yes,
you know
you deserve that.
Right? Like, enjoy, like, do your thing. Like...
Can I?
Not... Right, I was like... Sorry, Mom, see you later. Like... But yeah, I mean, like, little things like that, or like when I see people who are breaking down barriers and like not reaching across the aisle, because it sounds so. Someone made that up.
Yeah.
Like, all right, guys. But when I see people who are just really trying and living their life and just like enjoying things to the fullest and not taking things too seriously, like that makes me really happy. So.
Okay. What are you most afraid of?
Climate change. Like, for real.
That's real.
I legit have anxiety about climate change. And like, I have woken up like twice this week, just thinking like, there's no way that there will be a habitable Earth for any potential children that I do have. And that's just scary and depressing. And yeah.
Wow.
That's, I mean, I don't know, where are these kids gonna go?
So,
you know?
Okay, so tell me how this,
like, I'm so different, like,
started.
So
when did you become aware? Did you see a documentary?
I think it's been kind of a progression that I've seen, destruction literally in my backyard, and I've seen things that are happening, and the more so this is like going back to the question, are you into politics? Like, yeah. I try to keep informed, but it can get very stressful and can get very emotionally draining. But starting in college, I start to see a lot of it, especially in West Virginia. There is they have fracking, and it's big coal country, so there's a lot of environmental disruptions. And I've seen and heard people from both sides of the argument. And then every day I feel like every week there's something new coming out, like, oh, the Amazon's on fire. I'm like, that's scary. Like, That's terrifying to me. How can we
Mhm.
breathe if all of the trees
Your lungs are burning away.
And I think that there's a misconception, or like I think the whole environmental movement needs rebranding.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's not how do we save the world?
Right.
Because the planet is fine. She's been here forever. Like, she's gonna be fine. It's us.
Yeah.
It's the human piece of it that really stresses me out and really worries me, because I don't think that we're going down a good path to keep a habitable Earth. And I truly believe that humans are an endangered species, and that we are doing the endangerment.
Yeah.
Like, we're murdering each other.
For sure.
We're killing each other, whether it's through, like, malnutrition or lack of resources or burning down the forest. Like,
Or literally just shooting each
or
other.
literally just going out in the street and doing that. Yeah. So, that makes me, that's my biggest fear, is just not having a habitable Earth for us and for future generations.
There's this documentary, I think, Leonardo DiCaprio. It's on HBO. Do you have HBO?
Yeah, HBO.
Okay, of course you have HBO. Like, I hate when people say they don't have it. Sorry to anyone who watches this and doesn't have it, but I'm just like, what are you doing? But I think
Find
it's
a
called,
friend.
like, Ice on
Get a
Fire.
friend. Yeah,
Right,
like,
what? Handle
get a
it
friend.
Netflix
Like,
and
come
get
on,
the
come on,
people
come on,
on
come
it.
on. Where's the crew? Come on, guys. Support
Trade for
support
trade,
your
but
broke
what are you
friends.
talking about?
Like,
Right.
you're like, Hulu for HBO? Like, what are we, where are you guys?
HBO sponsor me.
Okay.
So, yeah, sponsor me.
Hashtag sponsor post.
So the documentary, I think, is called Ice on Fire, or Fire on Ice, or something like that. And you should look at it, because I haven't watched it, but a friend told me about it, and she said it was terrifying, because it was exactly about what you're talking about, and people, like, showing, like, this is why, like, I think we're good for, like, 8 more years with, like, I don't know, carbon monoxide, or the level that's going into the air, before we're, like,
and the weirdest thing, too, is that, we are so focused on, like, it's the Earth, as if, like, this is where you live.
Yeah.
Why are we not, bringing the connection to, like, everyone that you've ever known lives here.
Yeah.
Everyone you will ever know lives here.
Right.
Like, this isn't like, oh, it's cool, I'm just gonna get, like, my Martian friends, and we're just gonna peace out, and, like, I don't care about you. Like, it should be personal to everyone, and it's not, and it drives me crazy, and I don't know what to do about it. So I'm, like, hoping that all of these projections are wrong, and, like, we're good, but I really don't think that we are.
Yeah, I think it's totally valid in your fear.
So, like, I just don't think that's true, and, like, I can't bury my head in the sand. Like, I'm just stressed. Like,
it's stressful times.
This sucks. Like, help. Like,
I mean, I don't.
Oxygen. Like, I'm on it.
It'll be gone soon.
Like,
so,
cool.
This is going great. We're doing great. Okay.
It is literally that meme of the dog sitting and, like, everything's on fire and just saying, like, everything is fine. Right. That's how I feel like
soon to be engulfed.
People are really acting. Like,
yeah.
And it's not.
A lot of people just don't know. So people just need to start educating themselves on things that matter and not, like...
Yeah. And it seems like it's just such a far issue, right? It's like, oh, the Earth, that's just too big for me to wrap my head around. Like, no, how about when I say your home or your kids, then people will start to take ownership of it. Or your species. This is not, like, you know, people out here like, oh, I'm going to go hunting. Okay, because you seem to have a disconnect of, like, what's important, of who's important, or what beings are most important.
Are you still vegan? You're
vegan, right? Yeah. Sorry.
How long have you been vegan?
2 years in September. Like, 2
years.
You look
great.
Thank you.
So
I have more energy than ever.
If not for the animals,
if not for the
skin.
For the skin. Really, for the skin.
But no, yeah, I think people, I don't know, people don't care until it, like, directly affects.
Until it directly affects them, and they don't understand that right now it is. That it is directly affecting people, even on, like, a small local level.
Right.
You know, I mean, the number of wildfires in California this year is out of control. How was there flooding in Texas? Like, are we forgetting about these hurricanes that happened, or Maria down in Puerto Rico, or literally Dorian, which is happening right now? Like, Carolinas, be safe. Like, what?
Seriously.
You know, it happens all the time. And yes, it has happened before, but it's not happening at the frequency that it is now. Or like freaking flooding right down in Ellicott City twice in 4 years? Like,
yeah, that was so sad.
It's out of control, you know?
That was crazy.
We have to talk about these things and like not pretend like this is normal. We have to keep saying like this is not normal. It shouldn't be this way. Yeah, there have been like times of heating and cooling, but not at this speed. And it's our fault. So
valid fear. Good answer.
Right, yeah.
Makeup.
So I'm just drawing hearts on here. Like, this is like all I can do right now. Yeah, exactly. Like, I need my pinks and my yellows.
Make a face that explains you.
That explains me.
Yeah, like if you were a facial expression or an emoji, like what would it be?
This.
What does that mean?
It's holding my tongue. But there's a lot going on underneath the surface. So I think that for some people, I intentionally don't say everything that I would want to say. And it's not necessarily because I'm trying to protect them, but that is because I'm trying to protect my energy. And so sometimes I've learned it's just not worth it for me. Especially if I know that their intentions are not pure. So you could probably ask my colleagues at work too. They're like, yeah, Jasmine's made that face several times. Like, that's a familiar one for us. Like, but yeah, just a little bit of, I'm thinking, I'm listening, and I don't know if it's worth my effort sometimes to fully respond the way that I want to.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Explain to me what social media is to you. What do you think about it? How do you use it?
That's a really interesting question because I feel like I have two different faces on social media. I have my personal side, and then I have my my Instagram, which has like vegan recipes and look at me working out. Yeah, so the audience that I follow on that one is like strictly yogis and strictly vegan and strictly, wellness and things like that, or creatives. Like, I'm following you on that one because I'm like, all right, this isn't cool. But I don't really follow too many like personal accounts or friends or anything like that. Like, I'm not going to follow you back, but I will follow you back on my personal one.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to me because on my personal one, I feel way more stressed out. Then when I go to the other side, I'm just like, all right, it's cool. Like, here's some calm quotes.
Yeah.
Like
here's some good, clean food.
Exactly.
Me to stay hydrated.
Ooh, let me put that on my next avocado toast. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay. Like,
get a Bikram class,
okay. Yeah. So it's a little bit, I haven't tried that move in a while. I haven't tried that pose, So it's, to me, social media is two different things. One is a way to connect with people who I feel that I'm more obligated to connect with. Facebook, okay, I post this, so like, family, here's an announcement. You know what I mean? Or like my personal, even Instagram is more of like, okay, what's going on with my friends? Let me make sure that like people know I didn't fall off the face of the earth. But the other one from social is happier and it's more of a creative space. So I believe that social media can play two different roles, and I prefer to use the one where it's more about what I want to do and less about how I feel like I should be portraying myself to others.
Yes. Love that. Do you have a 5-year plan?
Yeah, but it changes every year. So like, yeah, I mean, specifically, yes, but like in tangible items, yes, but also in non-tangible things. So for me, 5 years from now, I can say that I want to live in this state or I don't want to live in this state, but really it's more like my 5-year plan is more focused on my actual mentality and wanting to be as this is gonna sound super cheesy, but it is what it is. So, like, I want to be a happier version of myself. I want to be a calmer version of myself where I don't let things impact me as much, and I would just like to be a more conscious version of myself. And like, I really try to keep other people in mind, but just being more conscious towards how I interact with folks on a regular basis. And that could be things like not necessarily at work or in public spaces where like at the grocery store, but even driving.
Yeah.
You know, and being, because people get so upset. I have terrible road rage. Yes. Like, I mean, I don't think it's terrible, but like
I know mine's terrible.
But so just being more conscious and saying, okay, like what I've started to do, especially in driving, because I noticed myself getting more upset with people who don't drive the way that I think they should be driving. But just using everything as a lesson and a moment. I'm like, okay, if this person is driving slower than I think that they should be, then it's probably because I needed to be protected by something. You could, if this car wasn't here, I would probably be flying down the road. Sorry, Mom. But, I might be going a little bit faster. There could be something here that I would have missed had they not been going so slow and had I not been paying as much attention to the road as I am now. So trying to find a lesson through everything. And I would say that's more of like the 5-year plan, is just letting things roll off my back a little bit more.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Do you have any vices?
Yeah. And it can fluctuate too. So I think that there's sometimes a perception of like vegans don't eat, but like I love food.
Yeah.
I love to eat, and I like to try new things. And there's this really good Haagen-Dazs ice cream. It's like peanut butter and chocolate, and I really don't like sweet. It's so good. It's so good, and like delicious. It's vegan. I'm like, why? How is it so good? Like I shouldn't eat this. But then other times, I'm working out a lot more, and that used to be a super big vice for me. Like I would just go to the gym because I was, stressed or whatever, and I'm like, this is everything I need right now. Or even like going for, like, I used to go for, used to call them angry runs. So
like, you're like stomping and running.
Yeah, like I got shin splints once.
Oh my god.
I got shin splints because I was just pissed off, and then I ran outside in the wintertime in cheer shoes, and you should not be running in cheer shoes. Like, it's for cheerleading. So, that, but you live and learn. Like, I was like, cool. So, like, maybe we're not going to do this. Maybe just, like, some deep breathing exercise, and then put on the necessary attire. You hurt yourself. Like,
word.
Yeah. Like, isn't that funny sometimes, though? Like, we do all of these things, and it's with the idea, like, this is in the best interest of myself. And really, when you take a moment to think about it, it's not.
I mean, most of the things I do, I'm like, I know this isn't in the best interest.
Yeah, like sometimes you're like, I want this. And you're just like, okay, if I just took a second to say, that might be what current Jasmine wants, but is that what it's best for future Jasmine?
Most definitely.
It's probably not. Like, I should probably not.
That's a good question. That's good. I'm going to hold on to that.
Yeah, and then you just have to, like, humble yourself, though, because then sometimes you're like, like, there are times when I've made that face and then put on a sports bra and gone to the gym, because I'm just like,
I'm so happy your vices are like, I eat vegan ice cream.
No, it's not like that. It's not like that. I mean,
I think it's wonderful. Like, I don't expect you to be like, yeah, sometimes mad. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and then also I'll just do a little bit of crack, but
no big deal. But just like
it's manageable.
Like, and like that's the thing, right? Like that's where I'm at right now with this like jewel craze. Like I'm just like, I don't want to. Like, I know 60-year-old Alana is looking back at me like, holding her lungs. Like, do you see? Like, you know?
No.
But it's like so hard to like.
That's what it. Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I get it.
No, but I mean, I need to like go to the gym and eat vegan ice cream and like not buy jewels.
That's like literally been a dinner Just like just like a bag of Skinny Pop and ice. This is fine.
Skinny Pop. I stopped eating that though because the kernels kept getting stuck in my teeth and I just got annoyed.
You know what? Honestly, I flossed more than I ever have in my entire life when I was in my Skinny Pop. Yeah, my Skinny Pop phase. And so the thing is,
you find solutions out of problems. I just love you.
Just like, really well, great. My oral health was really good. Yeah. When I no, but I would just, I used to sometimes just get a bag of Skinny Pop and a bottle of red wine, and that would be dinner because I, when I was single, no kid, I don't care. Yeah, I am done at the end of the day.
I'm going to the gym in a second.
Who cares? Whatever. Like, we'll do that tomorrow. Like, everything is fine. But Skinny Pop doesn't work if you eat the whole bag. Mm. So, and red wine is good for you, but not if you drink the whole bottle. So, like, those were lessons that I had to learn in moderation. Because I'm not great at moderation.
Me either.
So.
I don't really know anyone who is.
So.
Whatever. What is the most challenging thing you've ever gone through?
I feel like I'm still going. I think that there was a point like 2.5 years ago when I was working at this job and I did not feel supported. I didn't feel like my boss knew what I was really even doing on a regular basis. I was essentially the only person working within the department, and I basically needed the assistance of not every single department, but almost every department at the university, but nobody reported to me. And that is a lot to put on someone's shoulders with little direct experience and little supervision or guidance from a direct supervisor. So I got burned out, and I couldn't. It's so weird to think about now because I felt like I was working my ass off, and I would be at work for like 12 to 14 hours a day, and I can't even believe now how I used to think, because thinking about that period in time, I'm like, my thoughts were so clouded, and now I just feel like I can see things now. So I feel like there was that period of time, and I just got burned out. I would like drink all of the time. And I was just super, super stressed. And then it all like came crashing down to a halt. And that was the moment where I got to wake up. And then I started a new job. I became vegan consistently. Like, I was dabbling. That's, yeah. I understand like the transition from
it's tough.
It's challenging, but I was like, I need to put myself first.
Yeah, for sure.
And when I started doing that, everything else fell into place. I started practicing meditation and yoga more consistently. And now I do it every single day.
Wow.
So I feel like I'm still going through that because I feel like I'm shedding this old skin of mine, and because I'm still working in the same place, some people are still viewing me that way, where I don't view myself as that person anymore.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm still kind of going through it, but I can see the light, and I can see that I'm changing, even if it's not apparent to everyone else, or even if people want to hold me in that negative space. I'm like, I'm already past that. I don't think I'm actually going to be through it until I'm no longer physically located there, though.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. What is one of the hardest conversations you've had to have?
One of the hardest conversations I've had to have was with my sister, actually. this past November for my 25th birthday. We went to Puerto Rico. I dragged her. I was like, listen, I'm turning 25. We're going to Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
And she goes, really? Like, she was like, I told her I wanted to go to Puerto Rico. I wanted to go on a cruise. I wanted to do something else. And she's like, you're just going crazy. I'm like, girl, this is toned down because what I wanted to say is let's go to Greece. And but like we're not there yet. So,
right.
Soon. Like, yeah, like, that's the 5-year plan.
30.
Actually, yeah, like that's the 5-year plan.
30 in
Yeah.
Santorini.
But like, but we went to Puerto Rico, and I could tell that she was, she's my sister. She's my absolute best friend. So I know when she's off, but I could tell that we weren't on the same page. Like, she was enjoying herself, but I didn't feel like she was like truly in the moment. And so I think we sat at the pool for 3 hours and just talked, and we just hashed everything out. And we were talking about so many different things, everything from like race and the way that we're perceiving things down in Puerto Rico, which is like just a unique place to be in and of itself. And the experiences that she's had versus the experiences that I've had, especially now that we're both at PWIs, and like completely different. And we also talked about like just our relationship. So I think that she was feeling that I didn't fully understand everything that she had gone through, and I just explained to her I haven't. I don't get it, you know. She is darker skinned than me, and when you look at her, you can tell that she's Black. But a lot of people look at me and
you don't necessarily know exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, I have people have come up to me and started speaking Spanish because they thought I was Hispanic, like in Baltimore. Not even like, like I'm just like, all right, like
I don't know.
So I cannot give you directions. I don't even know where I but we've just had completely different experiences. So the conversation was like, I was telling her, oh, I really love the people down here in Puerto Rico, and everyone just like is so strong and like this, and I wish it was like that in like the continental US. And she said, oh, well, I feel like it is. And I said, for me, when I was down in Puerto Rico, I felt like everybody there was more hopeful, and I didn't feel that when I came back to the United States, especially just in the circles that I'm in right now. I don't feel hopeful for Black and brown people.
Yeah, it's rough.
So, and that's literally her work.
Yeah.
So to have that conversation, and not saying that your work is not important, but that I just don't feel like it, and that I need for people like you to help bring it out and say, this is our country too. We will be here, and we will be supporting other people. We will be supporting each other, where I haven't felt a lot of that. So that was a really difficult conversation for us, but it was great. Yeah. And then the rest of the trip, I was like, okay, I just felt like we had such a deeper understanding of each other. And it was honestly kind of mind-blowing to me because that's my sister. Yeah. And it took this long for us to have a conversation like that. That's my best friend. Like, I know what she does. We came from the same two people, and there's still this miscommunication and misunderstanding. And of course there's that with other people who don't know each other, who are from different places, you know what I mean? Yeah. But it was probably one of the best conversations we've had.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you feel like in any other situations you find yourself sending important information through text message? Like, do you like sitting down face to face with people and having conversations, or are you kind of like, I'm just get it all out here and then?
I think it depends on the person and the rapport that we already have. So with Vanessa, like, I can text her an emoji and she already knows. She will know a story of what went down. Like, so, but I would say generally I prefer face to face because I want to see your body language. I want to see whether you're on your phone or if I feel like you're paying attention to me. My top 2 love languages are physical touch and quality time.
Mm.
So it's really hard to do that via text. Like on either one of those.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
like, so like I prefer face to face. I want to see, like, are you laughing? Are you smiling? Are you brushing me off? What's going on? Are you shaking? Are you nervous? Like I get a lot of cues from like the nonverbals, and so I would prefer face to face, like all the time, almost all the time. Unless I don't want to talk to you, then I'm just
then it's kind of like,
and I'll be like, whatever. I'll email you.
Right. Per my last email.
Yeah, right. Yes.
I still hate you.
Right. Yes.
Best.
Yes. Best. Regards.
Regards. Wild Jasmine.
Yeah. No. Like.
That's so funny. What is the craziest thing you've ever seen?
I have no idea.
You're in Morgantown.
I
you have
used to work at Merriweather. Like,
oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, who knows?
Oh my God.
I've got story. Oh my gosh. God.
Or what's a situation where you saw it or you were in it and you were like, I cannot believe this is happening right now. This is insane.
Can I say every football game, every concert, anytime Fish would perform at Merriweather. The craziest and probably one of the saddest things is when they had, there was some type of festival at Merriweather, but they were like allowing these 14-year-olds to come in, and we just had more transports than ever, like more people getting transported to the hospital. And there was like this weird drug, something about 25. I know I sound like
I don't know.
An old person
who's
just like
like,
what is this? Yeah, what is this stuff?
Kids
Yeah, like I don't know. I mean, there's stories forever from Merriweather, like people trying to sneak in alcohol using like tampon bottles.
Okay.
And
what?
like there's just so many things. There was never a day where I was honestly surprised at Merriweather. I was just like, oh, I've never seen this before, but it's
but
for the
also
course.
not
Yeah,
surprised.
but
yeah.
that's to be expected. I saw a lady peeing while breastfeeding. Yeah, and yeah, I was like, all right. I mean, efficiency. Like yeah.
Multitasking.
Right, I know. Like, look at women go. Like,
yes, look what we do.
And I was just like, can you maybe like do that inside a building and maybe not on the grass?
Yeah,
but,
like what?
Like, wow.
See your tits and your badge.
Woo,
for
okay.
free.
So, like, just nothing. I don't know. Like, there's not too many surprises.
Yeah.
Like, I'm working there. Like,
so yeah, you've seen a lot of
I've seen
stuff.
a lot of just people. I would say, what's the craziest thing? People.
Right.
Like, just humans doing human things. And non-human things sometimes.
Yeah, seriously though. What do you feel will restore connection in our generation? Because I wouldn't even say the world. I don't think it's going to happen. But what do you think that we can do?
I think that we just need to become, the first step is to become aware. That's probably the first and the most difficult thing, is because you can wear technology, you can have it like on my wrist, in my ears, like attached to my body, all of the time, and that we have to become aware and remind ourselves that we are not that technology, that the way that I'm portraying myself on social media is probably not exactly the person that I am. It's like you have everybody knows that what you do at home, probably you should not be doing the exact same things at your job. Okay, so that's just a known thing. But now there's a problem because you are used to having a work persona, but then you have a different persona online, or I might have a different persona here. And so it's really breaking down all of those things and getting to the core of who we are. And that just starts with awareness. You have to be aware that oh, this person said something on Twitter that they would not tell me face to face. You know,
Right.
like there's you just have to separate these different things. So I think becoming more aware, becoming more mindful, which technology can actually help with a little bit. Like now you can see on your phone, hey, did you know, like, you have been on the phone for 7 hours today, you know, and you've been on YouTube for 6 out of those hours. Like, maybe we should be doing something else. Maybe read a few magazines or an article or, you know, like, like, but I think the first step to establishing that connection is becoming aware that we don't have that.
Yeah.
Some people think that they do have that. And it's like, well, if your only interaction with a human was like 500 miles away, who is on, you know, that's not really a connection. So building it back would just be aware that it's not there.
Yeah. Are you self-conscious about anything?
Not as much as I used to be. I used to be really self-conscious, but now I am self-aware and I love it. And I think there's a difference between being conscious and aware. I think conscious has some sort of judgment attached to it. Like I'm insignificant, or some part of my being is insignificant, where now it's, this is who I am and this is the way that I look, and some days I love it more than others, but not being self-conscious about it. I used to be really self-conscious about my stomach. Like, I don't know. And that's the whole crazy. Point. Like, I used to just be like, oh man, like, I used to think that I had to look this type of way and I had to be this.
I remember, like, in journalism, we would eat lunch and we would come back to the room and you'd be doing sit-ups on the floor. And we would be like, what? And you'd be like, I have to, like, do this. Like, and I was just, and in my head, I'm thinking, like, wow, she's so driven and regimented. Like, I, like, just snuck back from Chipotle, so I'm in the corner. And you're just like, I ate a salad, and I gotta do this. And and I never forget, I always.
Do you know what's crazy? Is like, that I don't remember that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And that's just
so funny.
To speak towards how much that I really was self-conscious about it. I was really self-conscious about the way that I thought that my hips should look, or like I have probably owned 4 waist trainers in my life, and they're all in the trash now. But like I'd be like, oh, I need this and I need this, and who cares?
Yeah.
You know? So I used to be really self-conscious about it, and now I'm just like, well, I know that everything is temporary. Even the way that I look today will be temporary. The way that my hair is holding right now, that's going to be temporary. Right. Like, everything is temporary. So I used to be a lot more self-conscious about it, and now I'm more focused on the way that I feel within myself.
So good.
And, like, sometimes I'm bloated.
It happens.
Whatever, I'm a human. Like
I ate a thing.
Yeah, right. There's stuff in there. Like there should be some sort of mass.
Hollow,
like,
surprise.
Yeah, like.
Okay, 2 more questions. What's missing?
From what?
Take the question how you want to take it.
Soul. Yeah.
From, like, the world or from you?
I would say not from me all of the time. I think that sometimes, and that's because I've been, I don't want to say beaten down because it sounds victimizing, but like sometimes it's harder to attach myself to that. Whereas in other states, like, if you're on vacation, you're like, oh, it's so cool, I can be nice to everybody, and, like, you know what I mean, like, I have nothing to do, so maybe I'll smile, like, you know what I mean, like, I guess I'll be happy, like, because I have nothing else to worry about, like,
exactly.
But I would say, sometimes from myself personally, and sometimes from others, just a sense of soul, and a sense of, like, we're so individual now. Right? You can customize everything that you have. You can customize everything that you want to have. And we try to build these ideal lives. And it's really just distracting us from our souls and who we are. So I think what's missing is soul, and just kind of, I don't think there's much missing. I think we have too much things.
Yeah.
And
so
when you
like go away.
Yeah, exactly. And when you strip a lot of that down, then you get to the root of who that person is, and you get to the root of humanity, because we're all the same anyway.
Last question. I give everyone the same scenario. So all of the electricity goes out, but the screens on the phones, TVs, computers stay on, and it's like PSA, public service announcement, and then it's your face. And everybody in the world can see your face. What are you going to say?
Hey, guys. Everything is fine.
Don't freak out.
Hey, guys. It's all good. We got this under control. I hope that's encouraging. No, I think
we're like, oh, she said it's fine. Girl.
Oh, Jasmine said it's cool.
Right.
But honestly, I think that's the biggest thing. If in that scenario, that means that everyone's lives has just changed in an instant. Everyone is losing, they're literally losing power. And so you might be feeling that within yourself. So the first thing would be just to let people know to relax, because you're going to make the most intelligent decisions from a state of calm.
Okay. And no, true.
Yeah,
and then flip that so that it's not like a apocalypse situation.
Yeah.
But you get the chance to say whatever you want to say to the entire world. Like, what are you going to say?
Love each other. My dad's mom, in the foyer in her old house, which all 8 of her children grew up in. She has the photos of them in the foyer, and there's 4 on top and 4 on the bottom, and right in the middle there's a sign that says "Love one another." And I mean, she put it as a reminder for her children, but I think it's important for all of us just to remember to love each other. And when you start with that, then your interactions will be a lot better, and you'll be a lot more productive anyway. So
thank you for doing that. You did amazing. Let me see what you drew, even though
it was. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you got. Oh,
it's just hearts, just lots of hearts.
Did you already sign it?
I signed it. This is how I sign my name anyway. Just a bunch of just colorful hearts.
Happy.
That's all I want. Perfect. This is Jasmine in the flesh.